Justin, you're one of the functionaries involved in discussing the proposed marine protection area. Now, please bring us up to date. There's been a meeting of a committee, looking after the process. So just bring us up to date.
Yeah, sure. Izimvelo KZN Wildlife sent a delegation down to basically inform the key stakeholders, of which this little forum is. Its business, it's the users of the ocean, it's ourselves as tourism, because we believe it's very important from the tourism economy point of view, to update us specifically on what their intentions are as far as the marine protected area is concerned, because there was a lot of angst around how this could impact on our tourism economy. So we really got into the forefront of things to try and see how we can, should we say, get clarity on the matter. Incidentally, the Hibiscus Coast Municipality have also come on board as far as that is concerned. So it's very much a private sector and all government bodies as well. And as a result of that meeting, you see, marine protected areas have basically A, B, and C type of categories, where in some areas you can do absolutely nothing, in other areas you can. And we were very concerned that there was going to be almost like a carte blanche eradication of many of the leisure activities along our coast. It transpires at this point that they have allocated an area of up to about 30 meters below sea level, which will be what they call a category C, which means that most of the activities that we do anyway along the coast can still take place. So that ticks a big box as far as tourism is concerned. The other concern we had was as far as the shark nets are placed, and we'd heard via the grapevine that maybe shark nets will get lifted. Well, as you know, that could also have a negative impact. We had affirmation from KZN Wildlife that the shark nets would be retained where they are, which once again gives visitor satisfaction, and etc. As far as the ocean users are concerned, that's a more precise science, if you want to call it that. The guys who use the sea for fishing and charters and stuff, they know their stuff more than I do. So that grouping of people is engaging with them as well to see where particularly certain types of fishing activity can take place. And hopefully up and down the coast between Port Shepstone and towards Mpinjati, there'll be consensus on that. So it's early days as far as going through it systematically. There are one or two little areas where I think even us as tourism are going to perhaps interrogate some things further. For example, what happens if you have a major ocean event, i.e. a rubber duck or a kayaking event or something like that, and you go beyond the 30 meters? Now what happens as far as the regulations are concerned? How impactful will that event be? So we need to just get it more refined. And certainly we anticipate that working with that group from Izimvelo, a consensus approach will be achieved. Yeah.
Well, as you know, initially there was a tremendous negative reaction, especially from the fishermen. Now, was this not caused by the provincial people, by the process that they followed? It was not inclusive right from the start, and that's where a lot of the misunderstanding came from.
Yeah. I think there weren't enough people involved in that process. I think maybe people thought that it was just the fishermen that needed to be consulted. Well, it isn't. It goes well beyond that. It's the shark diving guys, it's the blokes who do the scuba, etc., etc. So I think there was a lot of concern that perhaps only a small group were consulted. But I think KZN Wildlife now have realized that they have to really broaden it. And that's what they did. They had a meeting a few weeks ago where there was a much broader grouping of people. Through consensus, they said, let's trim it down into a working group, which we now have. And certainly once the proclamation is made, that's not the end of the story, because then it once again has to go out to consultation to stakeholders again to say, are you satisfied with this rationale that we're having as far as the specifics of this particular marine protected area are concerned? So far I think it's improved. Yes, there was an outcry, and we were certainly one of the parties that were a bit concerned about it too. But we believe that at the end of the day, common sense should prevail.
But they at least admitted that that they were wrong in the way they.
I don't think they've been pressurized to make that.
Yeah, at least they should say, look, we apologize. We're sorry if we created a misconception.
I can't speak for them, but I think that is the rationale. That is why they're paying attention to it a bit more, shall we say, proactively.
Yeah. Why I mention this is because initially we were approached by the fishermen. I mean, they were up in arms because of what they were told right in the beginning, and that's why at least they should know that they caused the furore.
Sometimes we do have a reactive way of doing things, and as I said before, we as tourism were also worried about it. And I think once the nitty-gritties and the actual spatial component of the MPA is explained in longitudes and latitudes and etc., now the actual stakeholders on the sea are getting a much clearer picture, because I think there wasn't right up front an indication that of these categories A, B, and C, It's not going to be, as I say, a brushstroke where only category A is going to take place. So now there's obviously a negotiation phase to see what can still be put in place that is considerate of the biodiversity of the ocean, but at the same time considerate of the commercial activity that may take place from a tourism and leisure point of view, but also from a commercial fishing point of view as well.
Okay, just to sum up, so what you're saying is there will be a win-win situation negotiated with a formula that will benefit both parties.
I would say a consensus approach is what we're working towards. At this stage, I don't believe that there are any major obstacles, but time may prove me wrong. And at that point, if there are obstacles, then perhaps we're going to have to take another approach. But I think at this stage, we want to work hand in glove with the right people. Yeah.
Justin, thank you very much.
Thanks, Johan.